Yeah. Okay. Now, when you look at the Orlando Anderson theory, from your side, from the investigative work that you've done, if you can you dismantle that theory right now for our listeners?
Well, we do a pretty good job of doing that in the movie. I mean, I could give you just basically the nuts and bolts of it. Is that ultimately in our theory and the way that we look at the entire homicide and shooting in Vegas in 1996, there's a lot of information, a lot of evidence that would indicate that Suge Knight was actually the target of that shooting, and it wasn't necessarily Tupac. He was collateral damage. According to the letter, Lil Half did want to take him out, but that wasn't the big plan. The big plan for the night was, let's get rid of Suge Knight. And from the minute that happened and the minute that murder went sideways, the attempted murder happened and it went sideways, and people say, well, Suge Knight's such a big guy. I mean, if they were really trying to kill him, how come they missed him so many times? And the truth of the matter is that they were just amateurs, and there's even more detail we could go into than that, but ultimately it was just kind of amateur hour. And by the way, he did get hit. He got hit either by flying glass. He claims to have a bullet in his head. I haven't seen any proof of that, but he and his attorneys claim that he does, and claim that they couldn't surgically remove it, or shrapnel or something like that. So at the end of the day, I mean, he did get hit. He got hit by something, so it's not like
and
they
even
missed.
if somebody got shot right next to him like that, like it was a logical chance that he can get hit too. You know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely. And back when we did the first assassination movie and we kind of drew a dotted line to Suge, we took a lot of heat for that, because even though we didn't come out and say that he did it, most people took it away that that's what we thought. And the truth was, at that time, that was what I thought. And yet we could never get around it. You got to be honest with yourself when you're doing an investigation. And any good cop will tell you it's okay to be wrong. It's the wrong kind of cop that tells you that you can't be wrong about something. Russ Poole was willing to go to Suge Knight and apologize for what he believed to have been Suge Knight's role in it. And, of course, I came to that same conclusion that, in the first one, he was sitting in the car with him. I mean, how do you get around that at the end of the day? How do you get past that?
Exactly.
You just can't.
Right. Who would be willing to damn near get shot to kill somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just don't make no fucking period.
No. Right. So when you look at that, and that was just kind of the immovable rock in the middle of the river that we had to navigate around, but it's okay, because when you're investigating a crime, any crime at all, it's okay to reel it back a little bit, and that's what you do. You put it on rewind. You go back and you rewind it to where it's just before that, and then you say, okay, what am I missing here? And it took an interview with Brett Becker of the Vegas Police Department that I did 10 years earlier to kind of unlock that, because you got to realize 10 years ago I was just getting started in the whole thing. I was new to the facts involving the shooting. Frank had to kind of kit me up on everything, and 10 years later you can understand a lot more, kind of reading between the lines or subtext, or when somebody's saying something but they're not really saying something. You may do an interview 10 years ago. If you don't understand the whole story or the context, you may miss something that somebody's throwing you, like they're totally throwing you a bone, and it just goes right over your head.
I always thought it was Orlando Anderson, myself, because I'm looking at it like, okay, they in the casino, you stomp some motherfuckers out, they big brawl, and then, usually what happens is, okay, when we get outside, we're going to tighten their ass up. It's easy to believe that. Like, okay, they was rolling. Okay, we see them. There they go. Roll up on them real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Especially for some L.A. guys. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of shit that they do out there. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
so I always thought that. Me, myself.
But you got it. But if you take Tupac out of the car for a minute, who do you have in the car? You got the most powerful man in the music industry. And I don't care. And I'm sorry, but I'll say this. I said it in a couple interviews now, and I don't care. I don't care how mad you are, how pissed you are that you want to go out and get some skin because of what you were embarrassed, or you got humiliated, or it's your honor, or you got
not even necessarily getting embarrassed. Like, they just put hands on me. I got to do something back to them, man.
Got to do something back,
You just stomped me out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But does your plan also including killing the most powerful man in the music industry at that time? Because if they're together and you see they're together, you have every reason in the world to not shoot. Okay.
Exactly.
And
but Suge was doing some stopping too, though. Like he was kicking and doing all that shit in the videos too, right? Wasn't Suge jumping on?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because this the thing when you looking at it from a street level, like street dudes don't give a fuck that Tupac was the biggest rap dude, because they looking at it like I got a homeboy that can rap just like you. You just on before we on. That's how street dudes look at it. That's why I always thought that maybe it could have been those guys.
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't disagree with you, except for the one thing that they would consider though would be a Suge Knight. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to,
because he was a boss.
Yeah, he was a boss, and he had both Bloods and Crips working for him at Death Row Records. You know, the whole Dogtown set.
Yeah.
You know, he had ties in deep. And if you believe anything about the money laundering or anything about the drugs walking their way out of the evidence locker and the PCP walking its way out of the evidence locker and the guns walking their way out of the evidence locker, you know, there was no difference between Death Row and the city of Compton. So Suge Knight was keeping a lot of people fed and keeping a lot of people making in some serious cash. So when you want to get mad and you think about your future and what that looks like, you can roll up on Tupac all day long, but do you really? I mean, you better kill Suge Knight. If you're going to take that shot, you better be set that you're going to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to have, because like when you connected in the streets like that, you can't just keep. You just get. It's almost like some mafia shit. You can't just off a boss like that